Wanna play?
Here's Johnny!
I need a bigger boat.
What's your favorite scary movie?
We have such sights to show you.
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Happy Halloween, everybody, and welcome back to Wanna Play. My name is James McKenna, and today, for our Halloween special video, we're going to be doing another walkthrough. Now, for today's walkthrough, if you were ever a kid at any time in your life, it's a movie that you've seen. It's easily the greatest Halloween movie that isn't horror, maybe just the greatest Halloween movie anyways. And that's going to be The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. Now, The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown technically isn't a full feature-length movie, it's only 25 minutes, but I think it's the single greatest holiday special movie ever made. I love it so much. I've always loved it since I was 2, maybe 1. I don't know, whenever the first time I watched this was, I've always loved it. It's the most nostalgic movie for me ever. I can almost quote every single line in this entire movie from the beginning to the end, and it's just amazing. I love it so much, and seriously, if you didn't watch this as a child, you just weren't a child. You just weren't. It's easily the best Charlie Brown movie in my mind. I just love this so much. It's amazing. Obviously, it's Halloween. I gotta have my Halloween costume on, so I guess you can tell who I'm being here this year. That's right, Tuukka Rask, the greatest hockey goalie of all time. That's me. So yeah, without any further ado, let's get straight into it. We open up with the iconic Charlie Brown theme song, as well as Linus and Lucy Van Pelt walking out of their house. After Linus throws his apple in the trash after eating just one bite, the two end up in the pumpkin patch. They start looking for pumpkins to make into jack-o'-lanterns, and after picking a huge one and struggling to get it through the fence, Lucy lays out some paper and Linus throws it down. Lucy stabs the pumpkin, and Linus gives us one of the most iconic lines in the movie.
Oh, you didn't tell me you were gonna kill it.
After the amazing classic opening credit sequence, we get our first sight of Snoopy, who blows a leaf into the pile that Charlie Brown was making. After screaming, "Charge!" Linus runs into the pile, and Lucy goes to convince Charlie to punt a football. Charlie finally agrees after getting a signed document from the woman, and he charges in, but, no, okay, yep, she got him again. Charlie Brown catches Linus writing to the Great Pumpkin, and he walks away in embarrassment before he gets confronted by Snoopy, Lucy, and, her, who all seem to just see the Great Pumpkin as a joke. Eventually, Linus convinces Sally to sit with him in the pumpkin patch that night before another amazing scene happens, as Linus uses his iconic blanket to open the mailbox, then uses the wind to throw the letter in perfectly. Charlie Brown then shows up again and says that he got invited to a party, and gives another famous dance move before Lucy ruins all the fun.
Charlie Brown, if you got an invitation, it was a mistake. There were 2 lists, Charlie Brown. One to invite and one not to invite. You must have been put on the wrong list.
Linus sets up shop in the patch for later on, and the dissolve signals for a commercial for the brand new 2012 Nissan. After Sally gets scared by her own costume, everybody puts their own costume on, and then another classic moment happens as Charlie Brown puts on his ghost costume with 1,000,000 holes in it. Then Pigpen shows up with another amazing bit.
They'll never guess it's me under here. Hello, Pigpen. Glad you could make it. How did you know it was me?
Snoopy is also here, dressed as a World War I flying ace, but how about this? When he leaves, the man saluting him has a yellow shirt on, but the only person with the yellow shirt on before was Charlie Brown, but of course, as we know, he had like 1,000,000 holes in his costume. I don't know, ever since I was like 5 years old, that part always confused me. The kids go to confront Linus for being such an idiot, I guess, but he delivers some very 1966 dialogue.
I thought little girls always believed everything that was told to them. I thought little girls were innocent and trusting.
Which convinces Sally to stay. Oh shoot, spooky eyes! For whatever reason, that part used to terrify me as a kid. I don't know why, just kinda did. The kids go trick-or-treating, if that's what you want to call it. Guess not. And after getting their candy, they go to check it out and we get another iconic line.
I got a rock.
It happens again while the amazing Halloween feeling score plays in the background before my favorite subplot starts to play out when we go back to the World War I flying ace. As Charlie Brown narrates, Snoopy starts to fly his doghouse into the skies of World War I. He gets shot at and starts to shoot back, but again they fire back at him and the war begins. It's very back and forth, but the opposing team manages to shoot him down, but oh, here we go. He starts to sneak, or snoop, around the French countryside, with his shadows terrifying young me. Stick around to the end with the awards for some story time, and sleeping on a hay bale. The kids start to make Linus and Lucy feel like crap again before heading to the Halloween party. Lucy asks Charlie Brown to model for him, but of course they just turn him around and draw the model jack-o'-lantern on the back of his bald head. Fun fact, back when I was like 6 years old, my grandfather let me do this exact thing to him because he knew how much I loved this movie. We're back with Snoopy, still wandering across the plains of France and crossing a river, before the terrifying shadows yet again make their presence felt. He heads into a broken down old barn house, which apparently is one of the characters' houses since he sneaks into it through an open window, and comes across the kids having their party. After this amazing line,
This is the way to do it. Yeah, Lucy, you should be good at this. You have the perfect mouth for it.
Lucy bobs for some apples, but of course Snoopy pops out and sends her running for the hills. He starts dancing to some of Schroeder's music, happily in the happy parts, sadly in the sad parts, which I always found kind of funny, before sneaking off once again, and into the pumpkin patch with Linus and Sally. Oh, wait a minute. The two field of presents. Is it? Wait, is it? It's the great it's just Snoopy. Or a beagle, as Sally says. Sally freaks out on Linus for a solid 2 minutes, calling him a blockhead and literally threatening to sue him before everybody storms off. Lucy's alarm goes off at 4 in the morning for some reason, and looks in her, closet to find an empty bed. She heads into the pumpkin patch to find Linus freezing cold and tied up in a ball with his blanket, and brings him inside and puts him to bed. The next morning, Charlie Brown and Linus are talking about how awful that Halloween was for them, but Charlie Brown makes the mistake of calling the Great Pumpkin stupid. Linus flips out on him as the credits start to roll, meaning to us that it's end of yearly television special. But don't go away yet, because it's awards time. Now the first award that I'm going to give out is going to go, as usual, to my favorite part. And my favorite part is going to be Snoopy's World War I adventure. This is easily my favorite part, basically because it's been my favorite part since I was old enough to really understand what was going on, even though I didn't really understand, what World War I actually was. I always loved this part. I don't know why. It just always stuck out to me. It was so different from the rest of the movie, and I feel like it's really cool that they included it in here. For whatever reason, I've seen criticism of this scene, even though it's awesome, or these couple of scenes. Sure, it's kind of filler, but I absolutely love it. Seriously, this scene is amazing. We'll get to why I love this scene so much in a little bit. But for now, let me just say this is easily, it's just my favorite scene. It's my favorite. I love this scene so much. Whoa, okay. Best character. Okay, this is a really tough one because this is probably the only time that I'm ever going to be talking about Charlie Brown on this channel because it's Charlie Brown, it's not like a horror series. But I don't know, I don't really want to give it to my favorite Charlie Brown character of all time, so I guess I'll give it to the best character in this movie, which is basically what it's supposed to be. So I'll give the best character to Linus, because I guess he's easily the most main character of all of them. He really drives the story home. I mean, it's literally named after his belief. This is basically Linus's movie. Charlie Brown kind of takes a back seat to Linus here, and I don't know, I think it's kind of cool. This is different from all the other Charlie Brown movies because Linus, instead of being the funny side character, kind of takes over it. This is his movie, so I guess I'm gonna have to give the best character to Linus, even though he's kind of a blockhead. And the worst character is gonna go to two characters, actually. And those are the two characters, or at least on screen, I guess, who gave Charlie Brown rocks. Because, I mean, come on. Maybe that was a thing in the 60s, not that I know of, but maybe people would give out rocks to people on Halloween if they didn't like their costume. It'd be kind of fun. I mean, if people gave out rocks for Halloween now, that would be canceled in an instant for some reason, because, I don't know, the world is just kind of weird now. But yeah, they kind of suck. Why you gotta give this kid rocks? It's Halloween. It's supposed to be like the second best holiday of the year. Yeah, they deserve it. They gave Charlie Brown rocks for Halloween. The best kill, although it wasn't on screen, is gonna go to the World War I fighting pilots, because they're literally World War I fighting pilots. I mean, wars in general are kind of stupid, but they're also kind of cool. I mean, they're pointless, but they're still pretty cool. And World War I, it's literally the first World War. So obviously, it's gonna get the best kill. Also, there really is only, like, one kill in this movie, and it is the World War I fighting guys, even though that was kind of like a fantasy sequence if we didn't actually see anybody getting killed, but it was implied. So I guess the best kills are going to have to go to the World War I fighting pilots. I don't know if you know World War I. If you know a World War I fighting pilot, then just give him the best kill, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of weird to say, but yeah, best kill goes to the World War I fighting pilots. And I'll give the worst kill to the apple, because come on, he took one bite and threw it in the trash. That's it. The scariest scene is gonna go to Snoopy's adventure. Now, I said in the walkthrough portion of this video, stick around to see some fun story time, and here's that fun story. So back when I was like way younger, probably like 6, 7, something like that, this part actually kind of scared me for some reason. Maybe when I was even younger than that, but I don't know what it was. It was just Snoopy's shadow, just like kind of running in the background. Like, it wasn't like the main focus, but when it was the main, like, the scariest parts are probably like when he's running across the field and we get the wide shot, but the scary parts, it doesn't really end there, because of course, when he's running across and he's just this black figure with these huge white eyes, that used to scare me so much as a kid. Like, seriously, that terrified me. Combined with the score as well, the amazing spine-chilling score. This scene used to scare me so much, and I love it so much. It's easily got to get the scariest scene. Dumbest moment, and this is really just kind of a nitpick rather than an actual dumb moment, and it's not really even like a dumb moment anyways. It's gonna be the whole yellow shirt thing. Now, this is only the dumbest moment, once again, just like the scariest scene, because when I was a kid, I would see this, and I actually noticed this. I noticed his, because I watched this so many times, I noticed the yellow sleeve, and I was like, wait a minute. Nobody was wearing a yellow sleeve except for Charlie Brown, but Charlie Brown had the holes in his costume. Who is that? I mean, it's just a continuity error. Maybe it's just a animation error as well. I mean, that happened a lot in Scooby-Doo and Tom and Jerry. Like, characters' hair would just randomly just change color. So maybe it's just something like that. But I'm gonna have to give it the dumbest moment, because 6-year-old me would not approve if I didn't. And while this movie is really so iconic, and so is this franchise, that I couldn't really give it a most iconic bit, because it would really have to go to the entire thing. So I'm gonna have to give it to the most iconic line. And the most iconic line to me is, I guess, gonna be the most memorable line to me, because there isn't really that many iconic lines from this movie that stand out. But the one that I've always remembered, and the one that I've always quoted, is,
Oh, you didn't tell me you were gonna kill it.
I've always loved this line. I don't know what it is. It's just so funny. It sets up the movie perfectly. Just the first line in the movie, "You didn't tell me you were gonna kill it," just after Lucy stabs the pumpkin. It's amazing. It's hilarious. It really sets up the movie perfectly, and it's my favorite line. So I guess it has to get the most iconic because it's my favorite. It's my most quoted, and it's the one that I remember the most. Not really amongst pop culture, but just for me, I had to get this line an award somewhere. Thanks for watching my... Tina? You were in Friday the 13th Part 7. Wait, no, it's me. It's me. Happy Halloween, everybody, and thank you so much for watching my walkthrough on the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown. Seriously, as I said before, if you didn't watch this movie as a kid, were you really ever a kid? I mean, this movie is so classic. Everybody has seen it. Everybody loves it. Everybody knows who Charlie Brown is. Everybody knows him. Everybody loves him. And this is my personal favorite. It's always been my favorite. Christmas, the Charlie Brown Christmas one, it's up there. And, you know, I think the Thanksgiving one might be my second favorite. It's my second most remembered one, I guess. But this one I can quote, like, any line from any scene. I love it so much. And seriously, if you haven't watched this before, then I don't know what to tell you. I guess if you have kids, show it to them before it's too late. Because this movie is awesome. It seriously is. I mean, it's not really horror, but I needed to do something on this channel about it because I loved it so much. So I decided to make it my Halloween special. So, have a very happy Halloween. Let me know what your costume is this year in the comments below. So thank you for watching, goodbye, and good night. Bang!